The steel door closes behind you. The lock turns twice behind you. Nobody explains what happens next. You stand beneath buzzing fluorescent lights. Your mattress feels thin. Everything fits inside one small bag. Your name becomes a number. Silence suddenly feels like survival. You are 18 years old. You still think this is temporary. You remember your mother's kitchen. You remember breakfast before everything changed. Your sentence has begun. Steel separates you from home. Your sentence has finally begun. Level 1 begins with waiting. Your first morning starts before sunrise. A guard calls your number. You follow strangers through several doors. Nobody speaks unless necessary. Fresh clothes arrive without choices. The shoes barely fit your feet. A plastic identification card follows. You receive a narrow bunk. Your cellmate watches silently. You unpack everything you own. There is almost nothing left. Family photographs stay hidden inside. You slide them beneath your mattress. Breakfast arrives through a narrow opening. You eat while others watch. You learn where everyone sits. You learn where not to sit. The first day feels endless. The second day feels longer. You ask when recreation starts. Nobody answers you directly. Prison follows an unfamiliar rhythm. Minutes stretch longer than hours. Hours stretch longer than days. You begin counting everything around you. Doors close somewhere nearby. Footsteps echo through concrete. Meals arrive at fixed times. Phone calls become precious events. Lights disappear at bedtime. You count until sleep arrives. Then every hallway becomes louder. Conversations pass through concrete walls. Laughter comes from another corridor. Someone argues behind another door. Keys move somewhere in darkness. You barely sleep that night. Every unfamiliar sound wakes you. Every shadow seems suddenly different. You miss your own bed. You miss choosing when to wake. You miss walking outside alone. Most importantly, you miss privacy. Morning brings another unfamiliar routine. You finally understand the first rule. Your old life has stopped. Your new life has rules. Level 2 begins after several weeks. Routines slowly become familiar. You know when breakfast arrives. You know when doors unlock. You recognize certain guards immediately. Others never smile around prisoners. You know where phones are. You know when lines become longest. You know which tables stay quiet. You stop looking completely lost. People begin noticing your confidence. Your cellmate finally starts talking. He asks where you came from. You tell him your hometown. He tells you his sentence. You realize everyone carries something. Some carry anger every day. Some carry regret beneath silence. Some carry loneliness behind smiles. Some carry nothing visible. Your mother calls every Sunday. Her voice sounds different now. She asks whether you are eating. You tell her everything is fine. You hide the difficult nights. You hide the growing loneliness. She believes you anyway. That makes everything harder. You begin working inside prison. Your first assignment involves cleaning. The work feels repetitive. The pay barely feels like money. Still, you save every dollar. You buy snacks from commissary. You buy soap and paper. Small comforts suddenly matter. A chocolate bar becomes important. A clean shirt becomes important. A private call matters enormously. You begin writing letters home. Your handwriting becomes slower. Your words become more careful. You avoid frightening details. You write about ordinary things. Weather fills one paragraph. Food fills another short paragraph. Books become safer subjects. Anything feels better than fear. Months pass quietly inside concrete walls. Your sentence stops feeling temporary. It starts becoming your reality. You learn which routines matter. You learn when to stay silent. You learn when conversation helps. You learn how quickly rumors spread. You stop asking unnecessary questions. You start protecting your energy. Your cell feels less foreign. The corridor feels less threatening. Even the guards become familiar. Familiarity brings an uncomfortable peace. You realize adaptation has begun. Level 3 begins after 1 year. You have survived your first year. You know almost everyone nearby. You recognize footsteps without looking. You recognize voices through closed doors. You know routines that never change. You have earned a small reputation. Not powerful, not important. Just familiar. That is enough for now. New arrivals begin asking questions. You answer them carefully. You explain the daily schedule. You explain where things happen. You warn them about mistakes. You remember your first week. You remember feeling completely lost. Now someone asks you directions. Your cellmate has become your friend. You share stories during quiet evenings. He has a daughter outside. You have your mother. Both of you count birthdays. Both of you miss ordinary life. Your mother sends another photograph. You pin it beside your bunk. The photograph stays there for years. You begin exercising regularly. You exercise for discipline, not appearance. You exercise for simple routine. Every morning follows the same pattern. Wake before the announcements. Wash your face. You carefully make your bed. You work until lunch arrives. You eat without rushing anymore. You wait for afternoon movement. You start reading constantly. History becomes an escape. Biographies become quiet companions. Novels open another world. Anything can take you elsewhere. Books become a second doorway. You begin thinking about release. The thought feels dangerous. Hope can make time slower. So you stop counting days. Instead, you count months. The sentence still feels enormous, but prison finally feels understandable. Then your mother stops calling. You wait beside the phone. Sunday passes without her voice. Monday brings no message. Tuesday brings another silence. You finally receive a letter. She has been sick. She doesn't want you worried. You stare at the page. For once, prison feels small. The world outside feels enormous. Level 4 begins after years. Years have changed your appearance. Your face looks older now. Your habits have become automatic. You have learned patience. You know when speaking helps. You know when silence helps. Your work assignment improves. You receive greater responsibility. You train newer prisoners. You show them daily routines. People begin approaching you, not because you are feared, because you are dependable. That small distinction matters deeply. You refuse unnecessary arguments. You avoid unnecessary attention. You keep your promises. People remember those things. Your cell feels different now. You have earned small privileges. Your mother visits when possible. The visits never last long enough. She looks older each year. You notice her hands first. They seem smaller now. She asks about your plans. You say you will work outside. You don't know what work means. You haven't had a normal job. You haven't lived independently. You haven't made ordinary decisions. The outside world feels unfamiliar. Then your younger brother visits. He brings his daughter. She hides behind him. She doesn't know who you are. You kneel beside the table. You introduce yourself carefully. She finally smiles. That moment stays with you. You realize children keep growing. Even when you stand still, that night feels different. You start planning for release. Not someday. Eventually, the release becomes possible. You begin saving money. You begin learning new skills. You imagine ordinary mornings. You imagine ordinary streets. You imagine choosing breakfast. For the first time, freedom feels real. But freedom also feels frightening. You wonder who you became. You wonder what changed outside. Your brother asks about home. You have no easy answer. You have forgotten ordinary conversations. Still, you keep preparing. Preparation becomes another routine. Level 5 begins after more years. You have spent years inside. New prisoners recognize your face. Some know your story. You rarely explain it. You have learned not to. Responsibilities keep increasing each year. You help organize daily work. You solve small disagreements. You help people find information. You become a quiet source of guidance. But leadership creates distance. People expect you to stay calm. People watch how you react. One mistake can change everything. You understand that now. Your closest friend receives bad news. His daughter has stopped visiting. He refuses to discuss it. You sit beside him anyway. Sometimes presence is enough. You remember needing that yourself. Your mother visits less frequently. Travel has become difficult for her. You understand the reason. Understanding does not make it easier. You start writing longer letters. She answers whenever possible. Then, one letter never arrives. You wait beside the silent mailbox. You ask staff about mail. Nothing appears in the mailbox. Weeks later, the news comes. Your mother has died. The prison feels completely silent. Even though nothing actually changed, you are given time to grieve. But grief has nowhere to go. You cannot simply walk outside. You cannot sit beside family. You cannot attend normally. You return to your cell. Her photograph remains beside your bunk. You hold it for minutes. Then you put it back. You understand something terrible. Time never stops for anyone, not even inside prison. Your sentence keeps moving forward. Your family keeps moving without you. You hear birthdays through letters. You miss celebrations. You miss ordinary dinners. You miss watching people grow. Your cell becomes a museum. Every photograph carries lost years. Every letter carries another absence. You begin measuring life differently. Days become memories before ending. That realization changes everything. Level 6 begins with veteran status. You have become one of veterans. Not because you wanted this title, years eventually create it. You know prison better now. You know yourself better too. You no longer chase approval. You no longer fear confrontation. You understand consequences differently. You reach the highest level. You think before speaking. You think before trusting. You think before promising. Your cellmate changes again. People come and go constantly. You remain while others leave. New faces replace old ones. Some return years later. Some never return to these halls. You stop asking why. Your routine becomes almost peaceful. You wake before the announcements. You carefully make your bed. You wash your face quietly. You work through the morning. You read quietly after lunch. You exercise before dinner. Call family when possible. Sleep after lights out. Repeat the next morning. There is comfort in repetition, but something else keeps growing. You start thinking beyond prison. You take classes whenever available. You earn new certificates. You learn computer skills. You study basic accounting. You practice writing applications. You prepare for forgotten normality. A counselor asks about goals. You struggle to answer. What does normal mean now? You write one answer. I want a small apartment. Then another answer comes slowly. I want steady work. Then another answer comes slowly. I want dinner with family. Those goals feel enormous. You realize freedom isn't luxury. Freedom means choosing ordinary things. You choose when to shower. You choose where to walk. You choose who to call. You choose tomorrow's direction. You choose what happens next. That understanding changes you. You stop dreaming about possessions. You start dreaming about mornings. You imagine sunlight through windows. You imagine keys in your hand. You imagine an unlocked front door. Hope becomes practical again. Your release date gets closer. Fear quietly returns again. Freedom is no longer abstract. It is becoming real. Level 7 begins near release. You reach the highest internal level. Not officially. Nothing here works that way. But people listen when you speak. You know every unwritten rule. You understand social boundaries. You recognize trouble before arriving. You know which conflicts matter. You know which conflicts disappear. Your influence comes from experience, not money, not material possessions, not intimidation, not threats, not fear, not status, not titles, not wealth. Experience earned through decades inside. You have watched friendships collapse. You have watched people change completely. You have watched families disappear. You have watched strangers become brothers. You have watched hope return. You now mentor younger prisoners. You tell them what nobody told you. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your visits. Don't waste your chances. They usually don't understand. You didn't understand either. A young prisoner asks about freedom. You tell him it feels strange. He asks whether you are afraid. You pause before answering. Yes, you are still afraid. You are afraid of freedom. You are afraid of leaving. That answer surprises him. It surprises you too. You adapted to every restriction. Now adaptation has become the problem. Your release date approaches. 30 years have passed. The number doesn't feel real. You look at your hands. You barely recognize them. You study old photographs. The young man seems imaginary. You remember your mother's kitchen. You remember her voice. You remember her final letters. You remember promising to come home. You realize you finally will. Your belongings are prepared. Your paperwork is complete. Your final nights become quiet. You listen differently now. Every closing door feels temporary. Every morning feels important. You know tomorrow changes everything. You are ready. You are terrified. Both feelings can coexist. The final morning arrives. Level 8 begins outside prison. The morning arrives without warning. Your final breakfast tastes ordinary. You receive your belongings. One small bag contains everything. Old photographs from another lifetime. Some letters from people waiting. A few saved dollars. A pair of worn shoes. Everything you own fits inside. The doors open differently today. You walk through them alone. Nobody tells you where to go. Nobody tells you when to return. The outside air feels enormous. Cars move incredibly fast. People stare at their phones. Nobody outside notices you. That feels strangely frightening. You stand outside the prison. 30 years remain behind you. A lifetime waits ahead. Your younger brother is waiting. His hair has turned gray. You recognize his face slowly. He opens his arms. You hug without speaking. Neither of you knows what to say. The ride home feels unreal. Buildings look taller than remembered. Stores look brighter than remembered. Roads feel impossibly crowded. Traffic sounds overwhelming after decades inside. Every sign feels unfamiliar. You stop at a restaurant. You stare at the menu. There are too many choices. You suddenly laugh at the absurdity. Your brother laughs too. You order something simple. You eat, savoring everything. Nobody is rushing you. Nobody is watching your every move. You suddenly understand freedom differently. It isn't expensive cars. It isn't vacations. It isn't fame or attention. It's choosing your own meal. It's walking wherever you want. It's deciding when to leave. It's hearing a door close, knowing you can walk away. That freedom feels enormous. That night, you enter your room.